Yeah, I started another one. I thought I'd stopped it earlier. I didn't realize that I was still streaming already, so I was trying to like start streaming and I was already started. I only got my fist, but I see this guy.
Too much around, so he probably could have heard my footsteps.
He didn't see me yet.
So my plan was not to wait too long, since he probably could have moved. So my goal was to breach his building where I saw him last.
I'm gonna try to get in, I think.
He had moved since he heard my footsteps, so the only possible building he could be in was a double green building across the road.
There's a dude like right around here.
After waiting quite some time outside of his building and looking at different angles,
I'm sort of
I thought
hoping
this
I
was
can
the
find
moment
a
to breach
melee
his
weapon.
building.
He doesn't have anything, you know, so it didn't look like he had anything. I'll probably get him just for this. Well, run straight towards him. Once you get close, they can't hit you.
Before we're going to breach his building, I want to let you guys know the mistake I made right here. So I did not realize the submachine gun I had in my hands was actually damaged. Now a weapon in that condition can simply jam at any time possible. So the first tip I'll be giving you guys here is always to check in which condition your weapon is. Let's play the video.
Like a dick. Oh well. He's dead. I'm winning. He's dead.
The second mistake I made right here was that I was shot a couple times in the chest. I was heavily injured and I could have escaped. Yet I was way too greedy.
Can you see me? Yeah, I'm winning. I hit him more times so far, I can tell.
Because of my greed, I was
I hit him
killed.
way more times than he hit me.
That was
Look at my
probably
health, it's
not
full.
the only reason why I died. If you take a look at the clip closer in slow motion, you can actually see what was going on. As you can see, my bullets were actually not registering. This is because I shot first with a damaged weapon that causes the jam. It's a simple bug, but I totally forgot that. So keep that in mind, guys.
Oh yeah.
Now, different to the previous clip I showed you guys, I'm showing you a PvP video where I did completely right. I'm going to analyze which steps I took. So to give you guys a heads up, I have already uploaded this video on my channel. A link will be in the description down below to the full video. So the backstory here is that I was being chased by 3 guys that opened fire on me, so I retreated into the police station.
Oh, he had a hard hat, that's why.
This is recorded on the third person.
I didn't have a hard hat, so he knocked me out.
So the first thing I did was to move upstairs to cover up high ground. Let's play the clip.
I didn't have anything yet. I hit him way more times than he hit me, though. But I just now realized he had a hard hat. That's probably why.
Lock the door, guys.
I hit him like 4 or 5 times in a row at one point.
So right there was the first shot I landed on. Keep in mind I was also injured, so my instinct was to push on this guy. Oh shit! Get down.
He's not killing me for some reason.
So right when I heard that reload, I thought it was time to push. So at this moment I was in jail. I was in cover. That gave me a little time to reload my shotgun.
I'm still alive. He took my clothes off. I'm still gonna kill you, motherfucker. You should have killed me. Yeah, I'm gonna get him. I think it's the hard hat. That's it.
Oh shit, right behind you, dude.
I'm trying to get some health back.
I said that just to distract that person, and before you guys are going and rage in the comments saying that this is third-person abuse, it's part of the game, I'm sorry.
I'm dying. I'm only 3, I guess. I thought I was gonna get health back, but I'm actually dying. What's he doing, playing games with me? He's like dropping my stuff. Oh no, he's like dropping it along the way. I'm about to die. He's fucking with me.
So what I did right here is I ran upstairs since I was running out of shotgun shells. So I was
Or he
gaining
just
high ground again, just to run away from the person. Keep in mind, he was heavily injured as well, so it was hard for him to chase me.
Alright, well.
So right when I was upstairs, I realized I wasn't bleeding heavily, so I was thinking, I'm gonna go deep on this guy. He probably didn't have any ammo left, so I'm gonna knife him.
Oh, bitch! You died, bitch! Oh, shit. He died. Oh, and then I died. And then I died right afterwards. But yeah, see, that's, I don't know, that's more fun. Jumping those high pop servers and fucking go for it. It's more fun than just run around for 4 hours and dying. Fight somebody. If I can find somebody and fucking try to kill him, even if you lose, it's more fun than walk around searching for shit for 4 hours. Well, like, that was actually fun. It was kind of funny too, because like I beat him and then I died afterwards. Like, it was kind of funny. So I don't know, but I gotta go get my beer filled up real quick. same server even? Are you still there?
Supported by Brilliant.org. World War I, arguably the worst war of all time, was started by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914. I say it was arguably the worst war because more people did die in World War II, but any war where you have both horses and tanks on the same battlefield is pretty messed up. But Franz Ferdinand's death was partly because of his own ill-fated decision. He was visiting Sarajevo in preparation for his country annexing the country of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and there were some people there that didn't necessarily care for that deal, so they decided to kill him. They attacked his motorcade earlier in the day with a hand grenade. Luckily for him, the hand grenade bounced off of his car and hit another car. Unluckily for the people in that car, that's where it exploded and injured some of them. So the Archduke and his wife, they survived unharmed and went on with their daily plans of ceremonial meetings and the like, I guess because assassinations were just something that happened all the time back then. Now, the security detail did change the route that they were going to be taking through the rest of the day to avoid some other incident happening, but Franz Ferdinand decided he wanted to go to the hospital and visit some of the people that were injured in the attack earlier, which kind of took them right past one part of the route that they were originally scheduled to go down. And coincidentally, standing at that exact same spot was Gavrilo Princip, one of the conspirators who had signed up to assassinate him earlier. He pulls out his gun, shoots the Archduke and his wife dead. Now this led Austria-Hungary to declare war on Bosnia-Herzegovina. All their allies jumped in to protect their homies, and so began the war to end all wars. A war that killed 16 million people. Now again, more people died in World War II. 60 million died in World War II, but it could be argued that the end of World War I, the terms in that deal set the stage for World War II. So you could also say 76 million people died because of this one man's decision. Now, of course, it can be debated, and has been debated for over 100 years, that if it wasn't Franz Ferdinand's death, that something else would have kicked off World War I, that Europe was a crumbling house of cards of imperial alliances that was going to fall apart at some point eventually. So that would mean that Franz Ferdinand's decision didn't actually make any difference at all, that all of this was predetermined. This is the heart of determinism. This is the idea that everything is predetermined, that the story's already been written, we're just kind of riding a wave across it, that everything you've ever done and everything you ever will do is set, and that there's no free will. Of course, this goes totally against the experience of life. You know, we feel like we have agency, we have moments of pure spontaneity. Surely there's a way to make conscious decisions that work outside of some quasi-religious deterministic framework. After all, you can see one person's decisions to work harder, to set goals, to take risks, winding up giving them a different life than somebody who doesn't take risks, who doesn't have goals, who just kind of settles and is lazy. But these decisions, are we making them?
Yeah.
Science is starting to argue that maybe we're not. Maybe there's another entity behind the wheel. An entity that resides in our own
Man,
minds.
I got real drunk all the time.
We live in divisive times. There's no question about it. Whether you're talking about politics, what kind of phone you use, what kind of car you drive, everybody has an opinion.
You might have to restart this session.
And the stronger the opinion, well, the more right you must be. What I'm talking about in this video has come up from time to time on this channel, and the reason why it keeps coming up is because I think this is important.
8852,
the more our
New
political
York.
and social discourse is directed by our beliefs, the more important it is for us to understand where these beliefs are coming from. And just because I think this is interesting as hell. So let's start with a little bit of brain anatomy. Luckily, I've got a brain right here that I borrowed from a kid in my neighborhood.
Not 50 or something.
No one will miss him. The human brain, and most animal brains for that matter, is made up of two hemispheres, the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. And because nature was drunk somewhere along the way, it got kind of cross-wired, so the right hemisphere actually controls the left side of your body and vice versa. So if you wanted to make a guy hit himself with his left hand because he, say, snickered at you when you tripped while you were out walking your dog, for example, you would just need to tap on the motor cortex on the right side, like that. Why are you hitting yourself, Billy? Why are you hitting yourself? Now, of course, these two hemispheres need to talk to each other, and they do that through a band of nerves called the corpus callosum. I would show you on this brain, but it's not real. It's fake. I was just kidding. I didn't take it from a neighborhood kid. I left it in his skull. Now, scientists have known for a long time that different areas of the brain generally control different functions. There's a language center, a visual cortex, etc. And some of these modules, like the language center, reside on only one hemisphere. A lot of this was learned by various brain traumas that were observed over the years. So now fast forward to the 1960s, when scientists started experimenting with a new surgery to help treat people with severe epilepsy. And the treatment's pretty simple. They just cut the corpus callosum, also known as a corpus callosotomy. The idea was that epileptic seizures were caused by massive misfirings of signals across the brain. So if you cut off the communication pipeline between the two hemispheres, you can at the very least localize a seizure and prevent it from being completely debilitating. Now, this was an extreme procedure, and it was for only the most extreme cases, people who got hundreds of seizures a day and literally couldn't function anymore, and for whom drugs didn't work at all. And for many people, it worked. And for others, it created some really weird side effects, which is what we're going to be talking about today. One patient who went by the name Vicky said that going to the grocery store was about a 3-hour ordeal because she would, say, grab the lettuce with her right hand, and then the left hand would literally swat it out. Or she might reach for the cereal with one hand, and the other hand would literally grab her other hand and stop her from grabbing it. It's like the two were fighting for control. Apparently picking out clothes in the morning was a similar situation, and sometimes she would wind up just wearing multiple sets of clothes because that's the only way she could get out of the house. Stories like this got the attention of neurobiologist Richard Sperry at the California Institute of Technology, so he started running some tests on him to figure out what was going on. He started by simply testing out how different sides of the brain respond to different kinds of stimuli. For example, he would put the patients in a setup where their eyes saw two different things. They basically split their field of view. Show the right eye a picture of a chicken, and the patients would just say they see a chicken because the language center resides in the left half of the brain. But when he showed the left eye a picture of the chicken, the patient would say they couldn't see anything because the right side of the brain doesn't have a language center. Therefore, it didn't know what it was looking at. But when they performed a version of the experiment where the patient was shown an image and then had to select that image from a selection of other images, they could do that. And when they took the test even further and asked people to draw what they saw, they could do that as well. So basically, they would show these people a picture on their left eye, and they would say that they couldn't see anything, but then their left hand would draw the thing that they couldn't see. I mean, just think about this for a second. You're taking this test, and they cover your right eye, and you look at something, and you just see a blank screen, and then your hand just starts drawing something that you didn't even know was there. That's crazy weird. But maybe the weirdest part of the story is that when they asked people why they drew what they drew, even though they didn't see anything, they always had a reason that they were able to do.
Yeah, I found one
If the person
before.
drew a chicken, they might say it was because they ate chicken earlier in the day. And in one specific case, the guy drew a bell. And when they asked why he drew a bell, he said with absolute certainty that it was because they drove past a church where the bell was ringing on their way to the experiment lab. This became a subject of particular interest to Sperry's protege, Michael Gazzagana, who deduced that there was an interpreter module of the brain whose job it was to justify the decisions and actions of the subconscious modules and interpret that for the conscious mind. And in his research, he showed time and time again that people's attitudes, decisions, worldviews were all created in the subconscious mind and then justified by an interpreter module that, to put it frankly, lies its ass off. Because it's not the job of the interpreter module to suss out the truth. Its job is to create a coherent conscious experience. The nerves send signals to the subconscious parts of the brain, which process it, send it to the interpreter parts of the brain, which interprets it to the conscious part of the brain. And if there's any gaps there, if there's any information missing, it just makes up whatever it needs to continue the conscious experience that your mind is having. You know those times when you have a perfectly healthy chicken and broccoli thing in your fridge, but you're just kind of craving something bad, and then you start to kind of justify to yourself that, like, there's a Wendy's right next to the Lowe's, and I had been meaning for like a year now to go look at paint swatches for the bathroom, and, I could eat the healthy thing in the fridge, but then, damn it, I wouldn't get to see those swatches, and you wind up getting the bad stuff, and you know the whole time that you're completely full of shit. Yeah, this is actual proof of your inner bullshitter. In more psychological terms, this is a part of the ego. Now, when we hear the term ego, we often associate it with vanity or narcissism, but the actual psychological sense of ego is defined as the part of the mind that mediates between the conscious and the unconscious and is responsible for reality testing and a sense of personal identity. The ego's job is to make sense of the world around us and to establish our place in it. Again, it is not beholden to the truth, only coherence, the smooth, conscious continuity of our consciousness. Which is why, as much as we love to think that we are logical creatures that make our decisions based off of data and information, and we make rational decisions based off of that, nothing could be further from the truth. We make decisions at a subconscious level, much closer to the more animal limbic system, and then we justify and interpret those decisions before it ever becomes conscious thought. And we interpret those decisions in whatever way makes the most sense to our current egoic understanding of the world. And let's face it, every one of us does this all day, every day. We are 24/7 bullshitters. We justify selfish and self-centered behavior, arguing that it's actually good for the world and other people in some way. We protect our egos from outside information that doesn't jive with our current worldview, often discrediting the source of the information if we have to. This all happens unconsciously, under the surface. By the time it becomes conscious thought, the bullshitting has already taken place. And it all looks like perfectly rational thought to us. And this is why this subject fascinates me so much. In our current divisive cultural and political climate, it is more important than ever that we understand why we think the way we do. By understanding there are hidden forces at work inside of our own brains kind of gives us a little bit of space where you can objectively look at your thoughts and, adjust your beliefs accordingly. Because free will, it ain't what it used to be. Turns out the world is probably not deterministic at all. What we do matters. We can affect the future. Our actions have consequences. But that doesn't mean we're completely in charge of our actions. There's a whole mess of stuff going on behind the scenes, interpreter modules and subconscious stuff, giving you a version of the truth that they think that you want to hear. It's up to us to be aware of our thought processes and understand them for what they really are. Not entirely ours. Apply a little skepticism to your own mind and your own thoughts. And don't judge other people too harshly. They're only halfway in charge too. But if you really want to take your logical thinking to the next level, one great place to start is the Logic program at Brilliant.org. Brilliant's Logic course sharpens your inner Sherlock Holmes by walking you through word problems and showing you how you can come to accurate logical conclusions with very little information using the power of deduction. Do you know how many people can't pick up on context clues in this world? It's scary. Having this power supercharged in yourself gives you a huge advantage. And that's what Brilliant is really good at. Instead of just throwing facts and figures at you, they teach you how to think like a scientist, or detective in this case, helping you to figure out the answers yourself so you can apply those more easily in your daily life. You can sign up for Brilliant at Brilliant.org/AnswersWithJoe and get free access to their weekly brain teasers and puzzles. And if you want to get the premium subscription, the first 200 people that sign up get the premium subscription that gives you access to all their courses for 20% off your subscription for life. Take Brilliant for a spin. I think you'll like it. Brilliant.org/AnswersWithJoe. Links downstairs. Thank you to Brilliant for supporting this video, and a big, huge thanks to the Answer Files on Patreon that help make all this possible and are just creating an awesome community. You can join them by going to patreon.com/AnswersWithJoe. But first, I want to give a big thanks to all the people who have just signed up recently. Let me take care of their names real quick. We got Gregory Walker, Matthew Keys, Jeremy Cart, Richard A. Furman, Songor Mark Horvath, Dan C. Morris, Tim Ames, Samuel Price, Don Banks, Alma, Andy Middleton, Brock Peterson, Andrew S. Bernard, Bernard Dog, Daryl Julian, and Joaquim Carlson. Thank you guys so much. Please like and share this video if you liked it, and if this is your first time here, check out some of my other videos. I think you might like those too. And if you do, hit subscribe, and you'll be the first one to see them every Monday. Cool shirts available at the store, answerswithjoe.com/shirts. Thanks again for watching. You guys go out now, have an eye-opening week, and I'll see you next Monday. Love you guys. Take care. This video is supported by Skillshare. Reality's weird. The more we discover at the largest and smallest scales, the more scientists have been forced to ask the same question. What the f***? Why is the universe so big? And why is it continuing to expand with no discernible force causing this expansion? Why do the very smallest pieces of matter behave in ways that make no sense whatsoever? Why is empty space actually teeming with virtual particles that pop in and out of existence? Where did all this come from in the first place? And what came before it? Reality is a giant mystery. And that's okay. Mysteries are what makes everything interesting. We don't have to know all the answers to everything. Maybe it's better if we don't. But perhaps the biggest mystery of all is life itself. Was it just an accident? Or was it the inevitable consequence of billions of years of chemistry in the universe? And if it's the latter, does that make life a fundamental part of the universe? Was it designed this way? And perhaps the greatest mystery about life is what happens at the end of it. Countless religions and philosophies have been explored throughout history to try to explain what this is all about and what happens after you die. Even the most militant atheists have thought about what happens in those final moments. There's a famous argument by French philosopher Blaise Pascal from the 1600s. It's called Pascal's Wager. And in it, he basically argues that there either is a God or there isn't. And by that same token, there is either an afterlife or there isn't. And we can't know this until we die. So you might as well believe in God because the benefits of believing in God far outweigh the downsides. Essentially, we live our lives seeking the answer to an eternal binary mystery that we can only learn by dying. Dying is a surrender to the mystery. But what if there was a third option? It's hardwired into life itself. Every life form comes with only two mandates: to spread their genes to another generation and to not become something else's food. All of evolution and life on this planet is derived from those two mandates. A life form that is able to keep from being eaten or survives its environment lives to pass on its genes to another generation, and the strongest in that generation pass it on and on and on and on. So it's no mystery that one of the primary drivers of the human species is to cheat death, to survive. Our literature is saturated with stories of people trying to extend their lives. Our very first story ever written down, Gilgamesh, was all about a guy seeking immortality. Remember the human motto: if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. The entire field of medicine is based off this human need to push off death as long as possible. That's how we came up with the medieval theory of the four humors, and eventually the germ theory of medicine, antibiotics, vaccinations, organ transplants, stem cell therapy, and now gene editing. These advancements are not always met with open arms. With every step forward in medicine, there's always some people that say that we're going too far, that we're playing God, that we're going against nature. But we do it anyway. Today we have concerns about gene editing with CRISPR-Cas9. 10 years ago, people were upset about stem cell therapy. 50 years before that, some people called organ transplants an abomination. And 100 years ago, vaccines... Well, apparently we're still arguing about that. But one by one, these arguments always fall to the wayside. Do you really think that when we have a cure for cancer, we won't do it? Do you really think that when we have a way to treat aging-related diseases, that we won't do it? Do you really think that if we reach the point where we can live indefinitely, we won't do it? Given the progress of technology and medicine throughout history, I think it's a safe thing to say that we're not going to stop until we get there. And even if we do get there, we may keep going. We may start enhancing our bodies, giving ourselves abilities we never had before. I just don't see a situation where we reach a certain point and go, it's good enough. We will always be striving to cheat death until the day that we do. Until the day that people can live indefinitely and die at the time of their choosing. This is the path that we're on. I don't think that's a controversial statement. Similarly, our definition of death has changed drastically as medicine has evolved. It used to be once upon a time, if you couldn't feel a pulse or a heartbeat, you were considered dead, and this led to so many people getting buried alive that there was a whole industry around bells that you could ring from your coffin if you woke up having been buried. As medicine progressed, we learned how to restart a heart once it stops beating, so now a stopped heart doesn't necessarily mean you're dead, and we eventually learned how to keep a body on life support even if the brain is dead, so even that doesn't necessarily mean you're dead. Death used to just be a state that you were in. You either were or you weren't. You were either alive or you were dead. Unless you were Schrodinger's cat. Today we know that death is really more of a process. One that starts when your heart stops, also known as clinical death, and ends when your brain ceases all function, also known as legal death. But it has been argued that there's another type of death. One that happens when your brain deteriorates so much that the structure of the brain, the information in the brain, the neuronal connections that form your memories and your personality and who you are, when that deteriorates to the point that no information could be gleaned from that brain anymore. Some people call this info-death. Technologists kind of touch themselves at the idea of being able to transfer your consciousness out of your body into, say, a simulated world or a robotic avatar. But you still run into the teleportation problem. I covered this in a previous video, but the problem with teleportation is that you're basically creating a copy of yourself and maybe destroying your original body. The idea of a teleportation device is that it scans every atom in your body and then transmits that information to another place where you're reassembled over there. And when you wake up over there, it would feel like you just leaped from one place to another because the memory that you had of leaving that place would be fully formed and recreated back over here. But the experience from the original place would just be lights out. Your consciousness wouldn't necessarily transfer to this new place. It would just be your body being ripped apart, atom by atom. A transporter room in Star Trek was basically a suicide machine. If you really want to survive death and continue your consciousness forward, you need your brain. And this is where the idea of cryonics comes in. Cryonics is the act of stopping the death process by preserving the body in a state of suspended animation until a future time when medical technology can cure the patient. By the way, the words cryogenics and cryonics are often used interchangeably. Not the same thing. Cryogenics is the study of how matter behaves at extremely cold temperatures. Cryonics is a dead frozen dude in a jar. So you can see why cryogenicists are quick to correct you if you use it the wrong way. The fact is, cryonics is not something that's really supported by the overall medical community. At best, it's considered a weird way to kind of donate your body to science. At worst, it's considered kind of a cult. But let's just go with it for a second. Let's just suppose that this video convinces you.
Oh, okay. I was like, is this somebody I know or is this somebody you know?
Points. I want to get frosty.
Okay. Right on.
Right now, there are really 4 main companies that provide cryonics.
Well, that's cool.
There's Alcor in Arizona. They're the largest, most well-known. The Cryonics Institute in Michigan.
Yeah, we're playing DayZ. You got DayZ.
Each of these have their own way of doing things, but just for the sake of...
Oh, we were playing that a while back. Yeah, we were playing that a while back. Yeah. Yeah, I never tried that. I heard about people doing that before, but I never tried it though.
searches for people fucking breaking their rules. But if you log in before you break the rules each time, it skips the warning. So maybe there's like a workaround that you guys ran into and didn't know about when you reset the PlayStation. Like if there's something special you gotta do each time you turn it on. I don't know. I've not done it before. I just tried to do it like I did on the PlayStation 3. I don't think they ever did anything. No, it was free. They didn't give a shit about it. Share games with everybody. As long as you put your account on the PlayStation, everybody had to use it. I feel like the only reason they started caring about it was because every other console and PC was making more money off of service they offered for free. Yeah, I'm just playing Hearthstone. I see you guys had a party open. All the other parties were old Destiny players, and they looked in there in raids. Yeah, I was playing Destiny for a while too. Played the hell out of it. I played the hell out of it up until last when I played.
We didn't ever do any raids though.
I missed the Iron Banner. Oh yeah, I kind of just hop in there and learn as I go with most games, and if it causes a few failure groups, what the fuck ever.
Yeah, I guess I'd be better than not ever doing it. That's like, I don't know. We just never did it because I don't know. I always felt like I had to watch some videos. I felt like I had to watch a bunch of videos to do it or something.
Where you fought the Emperor, robot, not the real Emperor. That was the last.
Well, maybe we should get on there with this guy then, man.
Man, I'm telling you what, I might not play it. I don't have the new expansion. And I am fucking action-packed with the video games all the kids want to play. So I got like 3 games on here that I have to beat before I delete. But the best way to do Destiny, man, if you guys got back into it, is to do it by yourself the first time and get on their LF ball.
Well, I just looked at it like some of the raids people were doing, and it was like you had to know everything, like, or you'd kill the whole group.
People are assholes. So essentially what I do is I go by myself to do raids the first time. I lie about what I know most of the I hope that I don't get looted. And then once I successfully monkey see well enough, I can take my knowledge to my friends.
Yeah, well, that's cool. It's probably better than just totally avoid. Because I always regretted that I didn't ever even try it. I just always felt too scared to even try it. I was like, man. Yeah. We did. Oh, we played the shit out of that.
Like, I pretty much would, we ran our own guilds when I played for years, and we would just collect people who got booted out of Elite Skills and try to help them become Elite. But because of that, that's what drew me to Destiny. It was like the first-person shooter that actually had well thought out mechanics and fucking boss fights, and that was awesome.
Yeah, it seems really cool. I guess I'm always drunk and high as fuck, and I guess I don't know. I need to spend more time like actually learning how to do stuff, but yeah.
I think the only fucking hard one in that Emperor's whatever. I've not done the new raids for Destiny, but I did all of them up to that. The only one that was really difficult, where everyone had to fucking know what they were doing, it was the Gauntlet, and there was like the room was divided in 4 quarters. Every quarter was protected by 2 guardians, and then every wave it would pin a random person until all people completed the Gauntlet into this fucking room that you could run around and do special things in. And then after everyone completed it, everyone had to get an orb and run through the Gauntlet together, and it's a single
Oh, yeah.
wave reset.
Yeah. That's the shit that's so stressful though, is I don't wanna screw somebody else's game up because I'm fucking too high or something, you know?
Right, well fuck it, dude. It's just we're all playing.
I kinda wish they wouldn't do that though. Like, I wish they would just make it so if it fucks me, it fucks me. And then I could just...
Most of them are like that. You can save it if it's one or 2 people fuck up.
Oh, okay.
Like
Well,
Gauntlet was really the only one
they should do that.
on everyone.
They should do it though, where like you could do spectator mode, and then like if you die, then you can just spectate the group or whatever. And like if you die, like somehow they benefit from it at least slightly. Like they get some. I kind of know what you're talking about. I've looked at a few videos. I haven't researched it deeply, but yeah, I've watched a few videos about those symbols and the shooting the symbols thing. Yeah. I just, I just saluted this guy. He is like this other dude. Yeah, have you ever played DayZ at all? I've never played a game like really. Well, I shouldn't say I've never played a game like this. This guy's coming back to kill me. I don't have anything, dude. He's bleeding now. He's gonna kill himself. No, he's gonna kill himself. He just stabbed himself in the neck in front of me. It just died in front of me. Oh man. But yeah, this game is I don't know if you ever played a game. I mean, I can't stand Fortnite, but there's well, if you like that, see, I can't stand that, but this is almost like that, but I like this. But the reason I like this is because if you know how in Fortnite you only have one life, and if you die, then you're starting to hold all the way over. Well, that's what this is like, but the map is literally miles wide, so it could take you like all day to just get across it, and then you still and on top of that, it's just like Fortnite in the way that if you die, you're dead, but it's a survival game. You have to get food, you gotta hunt for deer, hunt for bear. Yeah, like same premise, but there's also deer hunting, bear hunting. You can kill chickens. You can survive. It's hardcore. Ark survive exactly. If you know about Ark survival, that's actually what. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you can get on high population servers if you want to get in the action quicker. Like I just got this. We both just got this, so we're just kind of figuring it out. But like you can get on low. Uh. Yeah. All the kids love that game, but what but what's cooler about this though is you could potentially have your dude alive for a month. Like like yeah, like you could log off tonight and you just played for 8 hours and you got all this gear, and you log out, you go to bed, you wake up, you go to work, you come home, and that guy's still there. Now if you yeah, you could yeah, there Yeah, you could put shit in bags, and then you could bury it under a bush. If you can find it again. The map is literally like trying to find something in Indiana. Like the whole state. Yeah. Like, so... But... But it... But yeah, there's some consistency, because if you can remember where you buried something, then even if you die, then that bag that you buried will still be there, you know? Yeah. Yeah. But it's pretty hardcore survival, because you can get sicknesses, you can get dehydrated, you can get hungry, like Ark Survival, like you said, and then you know, also there's up to 60 people in a server, so you can get on low population servers. What makes it sort of interesting too is you can start on a low population server where there's only like 4 or 5 people in it, and so you're pretty safe. Run around, get a bunch of gear, and then you can switch to a high population server once you got a couple guns if you want. Yeah, basically, and then you could hear gunshots, and when you hear the gunshots, if you got some good headphones, you can kind of tell which direction it's coming from. Go for the gunshots. You could have nothing but a sledgehammer. I've seen people do this on YouTube videos before. They just have a sledgehammer and that's it. And they hear some gunshots, go running. They see a dude in full military gear, pop him in the head with a sledgehammer because he was shooting at some other dude. Next thing they know, they got an AK, they got a sniper rifle, you know, they got like a bunch of deer meat, you know. Yeah. And that's the and then yeah, and then but the nature of the game too, some of these people really know the map. As huge as it is. Yeah, that's the other thing that mixes it up is there's the zombies. When you shoot at another player, there's gonna be like 50 zombies in some areas that come after you. That's how I just died a while ago. I had a dude that I had going for 3 days straight, and I just decided like, man, I'm getting tired of having these guns and not trying them, so I decided to shoot a zombie. And next thing I know, there's like, I don't know how many there were. I'm saying 50 because it felt like that, but there was a lot. Yeah, but there's a guy punching me right now. I was like laying on the ground. Are you watching this, Drew? Are you watching this, Drew? Oh, he got me because he started punching me first. But I was just laying on the ground. But I didn't have anything, so I don't care. Hey guys, I'm gonna go smoke a joint, but it's good to talk to you, man. I'll be back here in a few. I'm gonna go smoke a joint though. But yeah, you should get DayZ, man. Like the part of the thing that yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's different. I never really played a game exactly like that, but it's like, I don't know. That's sort of what makes it intense. Is like you can actually you get to the point where it's been 2 days since you've died, and you're just like scoping out every town you go in. You're looking around everywhere, like, oh shit. Like, you know, it makes it like real life. Like you really don't want to die. Like, but but right on. Yeah, I'll be back, guys.